like to start with a little background information on myself to help you further understand why I chose to clean trash off of our beaches for my project. In 2012, my mom and I moved to Seaside from Pennsylvania. Being born and raised in New York and Pennsylvania, I made many trips to Coney Island, Long Beach Island, and Myrtle Beach as a child. From taking these trips, I knew that one day I was going to live on a coast and study marine biology. When I arrived in Seaside, I began applying for jobs that I thought were going to help me in the future. I applied at the Seaside Aquarium and began volunteering with the Haystack Rock Awareness Program. I soon got offered a job as a junior interpreter at the program, and soon after that, received a job at the Seaside Aquarium. I will continue to work at both of these jobs until I begin my marine biology studies at MSU in the fall. For those of you that don't know what the Haystack Rock Awareness Program is, it is a stewardship and environmental education program whose mission is to protect, through education, the intertidal and bird ecology of the Oregon Islands National Wildlife Refuge and state protected marine garden. Throughout the years, this program has inspired over 100,000 people to learn about the natural resources at Haystack Rock and other areas around the world. This program actually began with locals who realized how diverse and important this ecosystem was, going down to the rock on their own time to inform visitors about the importance. I have learned so much from working at these two jobs, and I continue to learn so much from day to day, from ecology to communication to being a leader to those around me. Haystack is home to hundreds of species that cover almost all of the rocks in the intertidal. Anything that is above the high tide line is considered an Oregon Islands National Wildlife Refuge. Nobody is allowed to access this area. Anything that's below the high tide line is a state protected marine garden. It is our job to enforce the marine garden rules. At these jobs, I am also required to interact with visitors, educate them about the animals off of our coast, and teach them how to interact with these animals without being harmful. For example, imagine that you are a family visiting Haystack Rock. You have 4 kids with you and a dog off leash. There's no way that you can watch them all at once. The first thing your kids are going to probably want to do is jump up on the big boulders that surround the rock. These are the times that have really taught me how to communicate in a positive way. I will ask the child on the rock if I can show them something interesting. This is the trick to getting them down without actually asking them to get down. I will point out the barnacles on the rock and explain that barnacles, just like crabs, are crustaceans. And when they are on the rocks, they do not appear to be much more than rocks. But did you know that barnacles spend their whole life on their head? When barnacles are in the water, they use their feathery feet to catch the plankton around them. This is how barnacles eat. Many sea animals and seabirds eat barnacles. And at Haystack, we want to keep an abundant food supply in order to keep the animals that live there always coming back. This ensures that future generations will also have a chance at seeing these animals. My next job would be for me to ask you to please put your dog on a leash. Although Cannon Beach allows dogs off leash, in our wildlife refuge, we have some threatened birds that like to nest in a very vulnerable spot. Last year, these black oyster catchers established their nest in our saddle, as they are beginning to do again this year. They successfully had one chick, which was a very exciting moment for all of us who helped protect them. This year, we wish to do the same. I will point to the area on the rock and explain that some dogs are not as well trained as others, and we want everyone to set a good example. These job experiences have made my appreciation for our oceans even stronger. I see the importance of these animals, and I see hundreds of people disrespect them every day, simply because they don't know any better. So when I began looking for Pacifica ideas, I knew that I wanted to do something that was really needed, something that I really care about, that is close to my heart, and that I know I will continue in the future. What I chose was a 2-part project. I wanted to take time and clean trash off of our beaches, but I also wanted to take time to inform visitors about the effects of this marine debris. Marine debris is considered any human-created material which has been disposed of intentionally or unintentionally and persists in our world's oceans and Great Lakes. It is the most widespread pollution problem facing our world's waterways. To get this job done, I hooked up with 2 organizations, SOLVE and the Haystack Rock Awareness Program. SOLVE is a statewide nonprofit organization that works to keep Oregon clean and green. It stands for Stop Oregon Litter and Vandalism, and its goal is to bring Oregonians together to build a legacy of stewardship. With out to organize beach cleanups in October, January, and March. I hung signs around town about these events and also delivered bags to shops around town for visitors to grab on their way to the beach. While working with Solve, I heard about a local group of friends who work together to keep Seaside clean. They call themselves the Beach Buccaneers. They applied to be a a Solve project and are now supplied with bags and are promoted by Solve. This is where I found my mentor, Ginny Didio. Ginny is a local who is an active member of Beach Buccaneers who works to keep Seaside clean. She has truly inspired me not only to get out and clean our beaches, but to teach people about the effects of this debris. I would regularly attend Treasure the Beach cleanups held on the first Saturday of every month that are put on by Beach Buccaneers. When I was not at organized cleanups, I would get groups of friends together to join me as I cleaned the beach. Some really wanted to help, others just came to keep me company. Every time I had a relative come to visit, I would haul them down to the beach to do their part. Even my mom really enjoyed helping me and came with me every chance she could. Even my dogs enjoyed keeping me company. Sometimes, when I was with really adventurous friends, I would attempt to clean beaches that I thought were hard to access, and that most people probably wouldn't haul trash bags to. The two beaches I chose were Crescent Beach, which is in between Indian and Chapman Point and involves a short hike to get to. The other is the sandbar in between Little Beach and Seaside, which involves a canoe. Sometimes during these cleanups, I would focus on removing nails that were left over from people burning pallets. I would borrow a magnet from the Seaside Aquarium, and I would drag it around with me until I found a spot that was highly concentrated in nails. I one day spent 2 hours in this square meter on the beach, and I collected 30 pounds of nails within those 2 hours.
Wow.
We immediately made a sign at the aquarium and began telling people that burning pallets on our beaches may not be the best idea. I also began educating people about burning pallets at my table. Although I am one of the few staff interpreters at Haystack Rock, we have hundreds of volunteers, some that come out once a year, some that come out every day. Without volunteers, this program would not be as successful as it is today. When I am not working at the Rock, I go down and I set up a Let Life Live education station by the truck. I thought this was a perfect plan. Haystack is a big tourist attraction, but it's also a place where many people come to learn and be educated. I had lots of information on marine debris at my table, and I would also inform people about local cleanups that were going on and encourage them to get out and be a part of them. I even gave prizes to those who brought me trash. Having an info booth on marine debris was somewhat difficult. Many people think they know all they need to know. Others just aren't interested in learning about trash. This really taught me how to communicate about a topic that most don't find interesting. My favorite was teaching people about the garbage patches. I would explain that because of the way the currents in our oceans move, there are certain areas that are highly concentrated with trash. These areas are very undefined, but some say that the eastern garbage patch, or the one right off our coast, is about the size of Texas. Animals in this area get strangled in this trash and are left to suffer. Most of the garbage in these areas, as well as in the rest of the ocean, is plastic. And although this plastic never goes away, it does degrade in a way that most people are not aware of. The plastics in our ocean will get smaller and smaller until they form what is known as microplastics. These plastics are a huge problem on our beaches especially, but show up on beaches all over the world. Most aren't even aware that this plastic exists, but once you start noticing it, you will never stop. They also act as a sponge, absorbing the diluted chemicals from the water around them. This is a huge problem because our beaches are covered in people having fires, and when burned, the chemicals in these plastics get pushed into our air, only shifting the problem elsewhere. They are also small enough for animals to eat. Animals will continuously eat this plastic until their stomachs are full and they can no longer digest anything else. Last summer, I volunteered with Mark Ward, the coordinator of Sea Turtles Forever and a local who is very concerned about the effects of these microplastics. I learned that the process of cleaning these up is tedious and time-consuming. Mark has designed a large form of screen that has small enough holes for sand to fall through. The process begins by shoveling piles of sand onto these screens and sifting until you are left with nothing but plastic. This experience made Mark Ward one of my interviews in my senior research paper about banning plastic bags. He has taught and encouraged me to enlighten others about the big issue with these little plastics. My research also pushed me to stay clear of plastics whenever possible. I now carry my own bags to the grocery store, and my friends probably hate me when I forget them and make them lug everything back to our cars. Overall, my Pacifica project and my senior research paper have taught me about these effects and have convinced me that everything we do is helpful, no matter how small we may think it is. This problem will never go away without our help, and I will continue to clean beaches everywhere I go for the rest of my life. I encourage you all to do the same. I strongly believe that humankind has the potential to work together and get this trash out of our ocean. I would like to remind you all of our local Treasure the Beach cleanups held by Beach Buccaneers on the first Saturday of every month. I hope that my presentation has encouraged you to get out and do your part, and I look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you for coming.
But you're fantastic.
Thank you.
Do you have a guesstimate on how much poundage of material you have removed by the beach by yourself?
You know, I tried to keep all my trash so that I could have an amount of pounds that I collected, and once my mom found a rat in our yard, I kind of decided to get rid of it. So I could probably tell you about 20 or 30 bags, but I don't know. I couldn't tell you how many pounds it was.
The nails are impressive.
Yeah.
60.
600 pounds.
600 pounds.
They estimate 30 pounds per full bag.
Oh, wow, okay.
Oh my.
That's how much
There you
they
go. So if you go by the estimations, 600 pounds. Yes.
Do you know of some place that we can get one of those magnets? I mean, we're not likely to be able to borrow it from the aquarium.
You will. If you, especially if you go to the Treasure the Beach cleanups, the manager there has started putting the magnets at the table. So if you go, they might have a few there. And if you go and ask them at the aquarium and make sure that you bring it back to them, they will let you borrow it. If they know that you were cleaning
Or
beaches.
you can go down to Home Depot and buy your own. They got
That's
them for after construction projects on wheels.
Oh, right. Tax free roof.
Any other questions?
Home Depot it is.
Great job. Good job.